Just a day before Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs are set to go into effect, his trade war faced a crucial test in the courtroom. A small group of businesses and states argued before a federal appeals court today that no emergency exists to allow Trump to impose tariffs without approval from Congress. And a panel of judges appeared skeptical of the tariff authority that the Trump administration is claiming. The last court to hear this case, the U.S. Court of International Trade, sided with those businesses and states in May, finding that Trump did not have unbounded powers to impose unlimited tariffs on goods from nearly every country. The Justice Department quickly appealed that decision and secured a temporary pause while the legal process plays out. Joining us now is the lead lawyer who argued the tariffs case against Trump's executive order today, Neil Katyal. Neil, I have not seen you in ages. I'm thrilled that you're joining us today. Walk us through what you argued today.
Yeah, it's wonderful to be back with you, Stephanie. And, you know, given your expertise on these issues, I'm particularly thrilled to be on your show. You know, the question today was whether the president, just by his own say-so, can impose all of these tariffs. And the argument we made was really simple, which was, hey, take a look at the Constitution. Article 1, Section 8 gives the power to Congress to tariff, not to the president, and it's for a really important reason. You know, going back to the Revolutionary War and the Boston Tea Party and all the fears that our founders had about an unlimited power to tax or tariff our citizens. And here President Trump came in and said, I'm going to impose these tariffs, the largest tax increase on Americans since Bill Clinton, Stephanie, in 1993, an average of, for every American household, $1,300 a year they're going to have to pay because of these tariffs. And, you know, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe it's a bad idea. What we said in court is that's something for Congress to decide, not the president.
The president's side, what are they arguing is the emergency that they're addressing? Because when I think of what they're doing, even in the last 24 hours, they might not make a deal with Canada because of Canada's take on Palestine. They're going after Brazil because of Bolsonaro. What emergency do either of those situations pose when it comes to trade and trade deficits?
Yeah, that came up today, and I certainly want to be very respectful of the court. They have this under advisement, so I'm just here really to just tell you what the arguments are, not to tell you how the court's going to rule or anything. But, you know, the emergency that the government lawyers pointed to today was the large trade deficit. And the problem for them is that the law that they're trying to claim gives the president this authority says it can only be exercised for extraordinary and unusual things. And the president's own executive order appointing for these tariffs says that I'm doing it because trade deficits have been persistent for the last 50 years. So he kind of pled himself out of court. And that's, I think, one of the problems that came up today with the administration's defense of what they're trying to do.
Well, I want to share what Donald Trump himself posted this morning about the case, and I want to get it right. So here we go. Quote, to all of my great lawyers who have fought so hard to save our country, good luck in America's big case today. If our country was not able to protect itself by using tariffs against tariffs, we would be dead with no chance of survival or success. What is your reaction to that?
Well, I want to actually agree with some of it. He does have great lawyers defending him in today's court proceeding. They made something that's totally unconstitutional seem a little less unconstitutional. And, you know, that requires a lot of panache and skill. And so I want to compliment them on that. But the problem is not with the lawyering. The problem is with the underlying policy. And we've never, Stephanie, in our 200-year history, had a president who says, I can do this tariff stuff on my own. I know better than the Congress. I know better than anyone else. That's just never been the American system. And no president has even tried to do that. Donald Trump comes along and says, I'm going to do it. You know, Congress has given the president powers over trade deficits, limited powers. They've said, look, if you have a large trade deficit, Mr. President, you can increase tariffs by 15% for 150 days. And then after that, you got to come to us. And what did Donald Trump do? He just blew that off. He didn't even look at that statute. He just did what he wanted to. And, you know, I think that's the fundamental constitutional problem here, and this matters to just ordinary Americans. You began the segment by talking about what you said was a group of small businesses, and those are the plaintiffs in the case. These are small businesses who've come to the court and said, look, these tariffs are crippling us. One of them, MicroKits, is not able right now to make their products for children's toys for Christmas. They've canceled their orders, and they're worried about making payroll and the like. So this has real profound consequences to every American.
It's just a huge reminder for our audience, just this idea we're going to manufacture here and we're going to bring jobs back. It will cost trillions and trillions of dollars, potentially decades, to try to reshore manufacturing in businesses that have left the country years ago with no intention of coming back. They have yet to make a case for why this actually works in the short or long term.